So I'm out here in the swamp and I just found this tree and I'm pulling some bark off of it. And wouldn't you know, a little corn snake was right underneath the bark. And now I'm going to dig through this pile of bark that's already on the ground right here around it. See what else I can find. So I'm peeling back the bark on this little guy. And I've already seen inside, and there's a scarlet king snake in there. So there he is. Look at that beautiful snake. God, that's a beautiful snake. That's a scarlet king snake. Beautiful, beautiful snake. That's might be my first scarlet king snake I've ever caught. Pretty wild. Here we are back at the car. That's a really sweet snake right there. They're sweethearts.
Are those the GoPro cameras?
Yeah, this is a Garmin.
How much did that cost? That's really
Is that a
nice.
corn snake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found him first. He was under bark on one tree.
We're just trying to get one.
And then this guy, I saw him under the bark before I peeled it back. And then I got the camera for the action shot.
It looks like a female.
I see it.
Yeah. It's a female.
She's so pretty. So cool.
We're gonna release her.
They're just like, you know, the bark's up there.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting on there. Probably lizards and things get back behind there, right? Like they go out sun and they get back behind there and then
Boom. Lunch.
go on the ground. And I'll trade you so I can take some pictures.
Yeah, I just saw a bug beauty. There you go.
Here, you can hold the corn snake.
I do love the corn snake. There you go.
Yeah. That's what she was like last year.
So itty bitty.
Mm-hmm.
I love
She was striking at me earlier.
it. Really? Oh, they're really bitty babies. Sorry for bothering. I didn't know he was behind that.
Here we are getting the minnow traps ready to set in this swamp. We'll leave them overnight and check them in the morning. They're getting baited with fresh chicken livers.
Alright, hop.
This is the one.
What's that?
I think those were mine.
Oh, that's
Here's a few more shots of the swamp, and what we're doing now is setting minnow traps for sirens. I'm out here trying to find some spring peepers, and I've got a couple right here. These frogs are really hard to find because they can throw their voices or something, but I got one right here.
Oh, sorry. He wants to be free.
I'm looking at the right place.
You gotta follow the sound.
I just looked at that bush, I swear. To be fair, the cricket falls up down in front of me.
What kind of species is it?
Mole salamander.
Oh, mole salamander. It's got that dorsally flattened. Oh, that's a water scorpion. Making a bunch of noise over here. Salamander larva. Cool.
Some kind of ambystoma. I mean, it might be the same thing.
I've been doing some netting in this pond and I just got a giant water bug. And that beak right there will poke into you pretty painfully. So you want to steer clear of the face of this thing.
If y'all have any questions as we're going, please ask any of us. But I can just talk a little bit about ARC and kind of what we do, just real briefly. Like we got several target species we're surveying for and monitoring. It's 3 snake species: eastern diamondback rattlesnake, pine snake, southern hognose snake. Then there's a spotted turtle, gopher frog, and flatwood salamander. Kind of our target species. Started out as like the funding and administrative arm for the park. Right. This is kind of like one of their only little side projects. Right. Really the only project they have where they got somewhat of a permanent field team.
Okay, we got 4 Max-Min thermometers here, and if some of y'all have never seen a maximum minimum thermometer and seen how to read them, you could learn that. We call that one a misnomer today. We just, for shorthand, we call that sun, because it does get some sun. And the max temperature is the bottom of this blue thing. The mercury columns move around like that, and the highest that mercury column got, it pushes that blue up there, and then the blue sticks.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Okay,
Cool.
so it looks like it's 30, 31, about 31 and a half. And then the min, it's pushed it up that way, and you have to be kind of careful reading that. It's 10, not 11, 12, but 10, 9, 8. And then the current temperature can be read on either side, and it's 10, which is, 50.
Right.
And then you mash this button, and they should fall down and reset, so the next time we come out.
Right.
And if it doesn't do that, you may have to use the magnet to pull them down.
There's a carnivorous sundew plant that we just found. Lots of cool stuff in the swamp.
We want to try this out and see if we can find her. So the one out here, we call her Medusa, and she is a very pretty female. Like Ab was saying, there's a 50% chance she might be out, but what we're going to do is I'm going to let one or two of you kind of take a lead on tracking, and I'll walk you through on how to do it, how to use this equipment, and we'll go and find her and see where she is, and we'll get a count on the beeps from her transmitter, which will give us a temperature of her body where that transmitter is. We have had instances where there was once her beeps were pretty low, but her head was in the sun, and so, you know, it's provides some very interesting observations, you know, finding her, and she has some lower beeps, so her temperature's lower where the transmitter is, which is more towards the tail, but she'll have her front half out in the sun, which is a lot warmer if you use a temp gun. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're taking that kind of data.
Ben will probably get us a temp gun shot off of her if she's out.
Okay.
So we can see what temperature her skin is.
Right.
And as you,
Here I am pulling some more bark down, and I found another scarlet king snake. Right in there. Look at that beauty. So I'm gonna go take it over and show the class real quick. Beautiful, beautiful. She's not quite as brightly colored as that last one was.
No one wants it. Such pretty seeds.
That's a cool looking snake.
Mm-hmm.
Wish we can keep it. I don't think you can.
That's a mountain here. Just that, you can kind of raise it up, and if you've lost it, the signal really increases just staying on this. Sometimes I stand on the top of the roof of my car and
Yeah.
hear it that way. So I kind of raise it above your head. You might even hear it kind of louder. Maybe not. We're already over there on Wednesday.
Eastern Diamondback?
Mm-hmm. The Talis Adamantium.
do you see her head?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, dude. I see her top looking.
She's looking. Yeah.
That's right there.
It's usually in the center, isn't it? Oh, there it is. She's looking at me, isn't she?
So if you expect them to warn you before you step on them.
Yeah. There's a little frog hiding under some bark. I'm not sure what kind it is. Gray tree frog, maybe?
Close to 3 kg.
It's our second heaviest snake we've found them since.
3 kg, about 5 pounds.
A little over 6. Say 2.2 per kg. Ben's probably going to get a
If you don't mind just keeping it pointed near.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's got the big.
Anybody wants to?
You need to see how pretty this
I know. I need a.
Here I am in a section of the forest that has just undergone a prescribed burn. And so you can see that this whole area has been burned. And we'll walk up. There's still some equipment up there that they used. But what I'm doing right now is, now that there's no brush, it's a good time to find pygmy rattlesnakes. And so you just wander around, and if you have a log that's sitting up, since there's no cover anymore, you might find one under a log, so we'll keep looking. Check out some of these pieces of equipment here. I'm still in the burn here, haven't found any snakes, but I did find a little skink. Here's a good shot of the burn versus the unburned landscape. This morning we're pulling up some traps that we set 2 days ago, and so far here's what we've gotten. Lots of crayfish, but a couple of sirens. Look at that guy.
battle royale.
Look at this guy.
Hungry
I've been digging around in this log and just came across our 4th snake species for the weekend. This is a worm snake, and these things are super sweet. This is a pretty big one.
Well, it's a good one, I promise. I'm gonna dig in the ground. Look like I'm doing something.
His head's always looking for a little crevice to go under.
Ground stuff. Can I release the snake where you wanted to take it?
Right over there at that log, that rotten log.
Right there?
Mm-hmm. All that wet stuff, that's where they live.
Alright.
And he'll probably disappear pretty quick.
Be free. Oh, you don't want to leave me? Come on, be free. There you go. Bye-bye. Oh, his little head's poking out.
4, 5. 5 species. 3 Eurycia. Eurycia gudilineata, 3-line salamander. Eurycia bislineata, the 2-lined. And Eurycia quadridigitata, dwarf salamander. And then we have one of the cool local things with the slimy salamanders here, Orthodon variolatus. That a moderate proportion of them have no spots at all. And they can sort of be found side by side with this little, I don't know what's wrong with this scrawny looking guy, but you know, some of them just, the other extreme, just absolutely covered.
So same species?
Same species. Yeah, that one does not look good. And then the southern swamp fuscus. Oops, Desmognathus auriculatus B. And these guys are actually pretty common. They kept kicking them out of the edge of the swamp.
Okay.
So this should be the lesser siren. Siren intermedia. If you look at it really closely, you can see it covered with speckles, the whole body. And so there might actually be 2 species, and these ones right here might actually be 2. This one doesn't have speckles, it's just kind of slate colored.
That might be a greater?
No. No, there's only one of those can actually be the lesser siren, but there's 2 lesser siren.
Oh, 2 lesser sirens, okay.
Yeah. But we have to figure out which one is which.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like it might be hard because it seems like there's 2 of them over a huge part of their range.
Pretty cool.